Every year on November 11th, the streets of cities across the United States fill with cheers, music, and a sea of red, white, and blue for the Veterans Day Parade. This year, the 2024 Veterans Day Parade carried special significance as it marked one of the most meaningful tributes in recent memory, honoring the courage, resilience, and sacrifice of the country's veterans across generations. The history behind veterans. Day before we dive into the parade, let's take a moment to look back on the origins of Veterans Day. Originally known as Armistice Day, the holiday commemorated the end of World War I, which officially concluded on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918. In 1954, Armistice Day was officially renamed Veterans Day to honor all veterans from every branch of the military and every era who served in the nation's armed forces. Setting the stage, 2024's parade. In 2024, preparations began months in advance. Organizers worked closely with veteran organizations, schools, bands, and even local businesses to make this year's event particularly memorable. Unlike many parades focused on celebration, the Veterans Day Parade balances honor with education, showing spectators the real stories behind those who have worn the uniform. Each float, marching band, and group of veterans was carefully organized to represent different eras of U.S. military history. From World War II veterans to those who served in Vietnam, Desert Storm, Iraq, and Afghanistan, every generation was given its place in the parade. This year, an added feature honored veterans of recent humanitarian and disaster relief missions, underscoring the diverse roles military personnel take on today. The parade begins. As the parade kicked off, the crowd erupted in applause. Veterans marched or rode on floats, many proudly displaying medals or holding American flags. Marching bands played patriotic tunes, while onlookers cheered and waved. In some cities, this year's parade also included a living history section, where actors dressed in period uniforms to represent soldiers from the Revolutionary War through modern times. This gave attendees, especially younger ones, a chance to see history brought to life. In New York City, one of the country's largest Veterans Day parades, Mayor Eric Adams and other officials stood in the grandstand, saluting veterans as they passed. A moment of silence was observed in honor of those who lost their lives in service, as thousands of attendees bowed their heads in tribute, honoring female veterans. A powerful theme in the 2024 parade was the recognition of female veterans. In recent years, the contributions of women in the armed forces have become more widely acknowledged. This year's event featured a dedicated float honoring women who served from World War II until today. Stories of courage from nurses in combat zones, pilots, intelligence officers, and combat medics were shared. For many, this was a poignant reminder that the faces of veterans are diverse, including men and women of all backgrounds and ethnicities. Technology and innovation in veterans services. The 2024 parade also emphasized the role of technology in improving veterans' lives today. Representatives from organizations like the Department of Veterans Affairs, VA, shared advancements in healthcare, particularly mental health services and telemedicine. Through large screens and informative displays, the parade highlighted new ways technology helps connect veterans with crucial resources, especially those living in rural areas. A moment of unity and reflection. As the parade drew to a close, the final float, a massive American flag surrounded by photos of fallen heroes, slowly made its way down the street. Veterans and spectators alike joined in singing "America the Beautiful," creating a powerful sense of unity. Many veterans in the crowd shed tears, while others held each other's hands, some in silence, remembering those they had served alongside. For families and young people, the 2024 Veterans Day Parade was a chance to understand the depth of sacrifice behind the freedom they enjoy. For veterans, it was an affirmation that their service mattered and that their sacrifices will not be forgotten. It was more than a parade. It was a moving tribute to a collective history shaped by bravery, honor, and an unbreakable bond between those who serve and the country they protect.